Hi there, and welcome to this Insomnia Insight episode where we will talk about a very common question. It is the one of why you feel like you have no appetite, you don't want to eat anything, you feel nauseous, maybe you even vomit in the context of having trouble sleeping, of having insomnia. If this feels or sounds familiar to you, well, this video is for you. We'll get right into it, but first, a very quick plug. If you're interested in becoming a sleep coach, well, guess what? There are 2 available slots still for this batch that starts in October. If you're interested, if you want to turn perhaps your journey into something that can help many others, head to our website and check the link at the very top, and you can see a couple of videos that I've made, and you can see how you can apply, etc. So do check that out if you're interested. Now, that said, let us get into today's topic, which is about nausea, vomiting, not having appetite, etc. And we're going to talk about why this happens, and then see what you can do if this has happened to you. This is mostly going to be about understanding, but let's get right into it. So I want to start here. 5 core emotions. Maybe you've heard this on this channel or elsewhere. Maybe you watched that movie Inside Out. Well, basically, we humans have these kind of 5 core emotions. Some people may say 4 or 3 or 7 or whatnot, but basically we have a set of like core emotions that I think you will recognize. And which are those? Well, those 5 core emotions, the way I look at it is happiness, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust. And anxiety, for example, is a version of fear, and frustration is a version of anger. So there are, of course, many varieties. You can overlap, etc. We have a spectrum of emotions, but basically you can, in my opinion, really kind of boil it down to one of these 5 core emotions or a combination of them. And the way I think of them is, and I learned this from Brooke Castillo, by the way, from the Life Coach School. She talks about the emotions in terms of like they have different colors, basically 2 colors, yellow and blue. So happiness is the only like yellow on the color spectrum, and blue, the others, all the other ones we can call blue. And what I mean when I talk about these core emotions in different colors, well, it basically has to do with like the practical purpose of them. Oftentimes we can think emotions are just there to kind of annoy us or make us feel a certain way for no particular reason, but they have very practical reasons. There's very practical reasons we have emotions. So the yellow emotion, happiness, is there to reward like proactive survival. Our brain is just a survival machine. All it wants to do is always keep us alive, safe, and surviving. And yellow is a way it rewards proactive stuff. Like we imagine our ancestors, right? They were happy when they found those blackberries because they could eat them and they would survive. So a reward for that is like happiness, right? That emotion. They killed a mammoth, that made me really happy, right? And then they had a party. And so the blackberries killing the mammoth, very obvious, like that helps for survival. That's why we're rewarded with happiness. Having the party too, right? That's like coming together with other humans, doing something together. It strengthens the bond, makes us safer. There's safety in numbers. Even that is like that when we're rewarded for going to parties, like it's also very practical, right? It has these practical survival reasons. Same thing with the blue emotions. Let's say you're actually being attacked by a mammoth and it's hopeless. There's nothing actually to do except maybe play that. Just lay really still. Maybe it doesn't see you. Sadness is very practical for that reason. Or maybe, you're fighting another, enemy tribe. That's like fear and anger is driving that survival mechanism. Don't eat the poisonberry. Disgust takes care of that, makes sure we don't eat something that could be harmful to us. So that's, a little bit on the core emotions and why we have them. Now, what is insomnia? Well, insomnia, a lot of you heard me say this about 1.5 million times, but it's well worth repeating. Insomnia happens when the brain is confused and starts to think that being awake is a threat or something dangerous, something to be avoided, something to be dealt with, something to be like taken care of, right? And there's a certain response to that perceived threat. It's not a real threat. It's just an idea. It's just a thought. It's just some belief, right? But the response to that belief creates insomnia. That struggle we call insomnia. So it'll be clear in a second here if it's a little bit confusing to you. But ask yourself the question: have you experienced any of the following? Have you experienced sadness? just you may have felt sad, you may have identified it as sadness, or some variety of it, like you felt hopeless, you felt like you want to give up, you felt like not doing anything, you felt inertia. Those are varieties of sadness. Maybe you felt that. I'm almost certain that you have experienced some fear, anxiety, dread, terror, maybe just a little worry, something like that. Those are versions of fear. Or anger. Maybe you've been upset, mad, frustrated. Frustration is a version of anger where we're angry because we couldn't make something happen, we couldn't achieve something. So I'm almost certain that you have experienced one of these, maybe all of them, because they are part of that survival mode that the brain can get into when it thinks that there's a threat. It throws these different survival emotions out there because it's trying to keep you safe in one way or another. So this is why it's happening, right? And now here's the thing: when the brain is a little confused, it doesn't really understand what type of threat it's dealing with. It just throws everything out there. That's why you often have, when you have trouble sleeping, the brain doesn't really understand what type of threat it is, so it throws everything out there: hopelessness, fear, anger, all of it, including, you've probably guessed it, disgust. Disgust is also deployed as a survival, tool when the brain thinks there is a threat. And this is why when you have insomnia, you often feel disgust in the shape of feeling ill, sick to the stomach, having no appetite, not wanting to eat anything, feeling nauseous, or even vomiting, right? Even vomiting. And by the way, it just came to me as I was speaking here. I meant to say at the top, but this episode actually came about because during a drop-in class in the Insomnia Immunity Program, Brenda, who is in Talking Insomnia number 71, she was expressing how happy she was because she felt kind of the monkey was off her back. She felt relieved, and she ate a cheeseburger. She was so happy, and that made me really think this is something important. This is something we should talk about because I think many others will, like Brenda, have felt this kind of nausea, lack of appetite, feeling like they were ill, something was wrong. But again, to me, and somebody asked me, like, how can you prove this? How do you know this is true? There's no way to really know, but I think intuitively, it makes so much sense to think of it in the terms of like these core emotions, survival strategies. And again, like disgust is part of the brain's survival repertoire, and it is deployed when there is this diffuse threat. So I think, to me, that explains why you often experience this. By the way, nothing is medical advice there. If you're worried about your threat, your health, always talk to your doctor. But I still want to share all of this. So then, when you see this picture, then of course the natural follow-up question becomes, okay, I've really not had any appetite, I felt nauseous, vomiting, and I think, yeah, this is in context of insomnia. It's the fear that's driving it, or the survival is driving it. The survival machine up here produces disgust that's driving it, right? How do I regain appetite and enjoy food again? And this is the part of this episode where I wish there was this one single like simple answer to that question, which there isn't. Well, there kind of is. Well, the simple answer is teach the brain that being awake is not a threat, that there is actually no real danger, that you are safe. How do you teach the brain that? Well, every single video I make, every single Talking Insomnia episode, open class, everything is about that. It is to help you teach the brain that there is no danger, that you're safe. If you're new to the channel, I highly recommend that you check the playlists that are in the description of any new video, particularly This is Natto and Success Stories. And when you start learning, educating yourself, things become more and more clear. Then at some point, the brain sees this too and sees, like, there is no threat. There is no danger. I am safe. That comes with a lot of relief, reduction, hyperarousal. And in other words, I wrote this down, when the brain sees that you are safe, that survival mode the brain is in is turned off because it's not needed. And your appetite comes back, and you can enjoy a cheeseburger if that's what you're into, just like Brenda did. Hope this was really helpful to you. And I actually have one more announcement, which was that Coach Michelle who's taking care of our one-on-one based Zoom program, has a new offering, which is not a bundle. We started with a bundle. We kind of had to buy 3 coaching sessions, but because of popular demand for like just one single coaching session, now you can head over to thesleepcoachtool.com and you can actually book just one one-off coaching session with Coach Michelle, or you can buy bundle 2, or you can join our Insomnia Immunity Program, or you can join Bedtime. A lot of options for you if you'd like a little bit more help, support on your path to sleeping well for the rest of your life. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, if you have any questions, post them in the comment section, and I look forward to having you back here really soon. Until then,